time.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Chief Deputy Nathan Sugarman, and on behalf of the Sheriff's Office, we'd like to welcome you to our recognition ceremony. At this time, if you're able, we ask that you please stand for the posting of our colors.
Ready? Post. Ready? Cut. Present. Arms.
We ask you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Ready? Face.
Thank you. Please take your seats. This morning, we welcome two of our newest deputies and recognize our staff that have gone above and beyond the call of duty. These are acts of heroism, courage, and attention to details that really matter. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce our Master of Ceremonies. He's in his second year of his first term, and in that time, he has accomplished several promised goals, which include the Neighborhood-Based Policing Initiative, which just got off the ground, providing Narcan to recently released inmates, and planning a new jail expansion, which includes a mental health wing, which will break ground in the coming weeks. He has many new projects underway already for 2024. His perseverance and dedication to this community are unwavering. It's my pleasure to introduce my friend and the Sheriff of Vanderburgh County, Noah Robinson.
Welcome, everyone. I appreciate you being here in this frosty January morning here. I was going over the itinerary, which Major Razier here, who so thoughtfully puts together for us and has done so for almost a decade now. We have no retirements today. That's a pretty awesome moment. You think normally a cause for celebration might be that we're announcing some retirements. That's a joyous occasion. Obviously, someone's reached the end of their career and that they're going off into the sunset to enjoy the fruits of their labor. But it's equally interesting to me that no one has retired, and we have no one to announce today for retiring, which means folks are sticking around. And I think they're sticking around because of the efforts of the commissioners and the county council to recognize the hard work that our sheriff deputies do and compensate them appropriately, and the culture that we foster at the sheriff's office that their work is valued. I'm equally as thrilled by the fact that our jail staff is nearly fully staffed. Say that again, because that's actually an applause line. We are nearly fully staffed at our Vanderburgh County Jail. I'll talk a bit more about that later. This last year has been an interesting year. It was truly a trial by fire for our entire administration. And I used to write speeches. I don't do it anymore. I wing it like Sheriff Wedding used to do. It works out better that way. But in all honesty, This first year has been a true trial by fire for our office. We've had some great things we've accomplished, and we've rolled with the punches. And we lost a sheriff's deputy last year, and that was extremely hard on us, hard on everyone in the office. This doesn't happen that often at the Vanderburgh County Sheriff's Office, not really in anyone's living memory, but we were able to get through it, and we came together stronger as a result. Before we get into the actual program, I want to recognize a few people that have taken time out of their day to be present with us. And those include Sheriff Dave Wedding, who's right there in the background, longtime mentor of mine, and I'm honored by his presence here today. We've got Steve Luce, the director of the Indiana Sheriff's Association, sitting right over there. Mr. Steve Luce. These are two guys I know I can rely on because no sheriff can do this job alone. And as Steve Luce has often said, no sheriff is sheriff alone. We have a great group of sheriffs across the state that I can lean on when I have questions, and believe me, I have many. Additionally here, we have our stalwart county clerk who's been with us since she first began her term almost 8 years ago, and has been here. He's here again today to swear our deputies in. We appreciate her presence and her unwavering support of our office. Additionally, we've got Commissioner Cheryl Musgrave, Justin Elpers, and Commissioner Ben Shoulders, who are all here today. All three commissioners are here today. We could not do what we do without their support. They have been instrumental in supporting ordinances and policies that I have asked them to support, and they've been unwavering in their support of the Sheriff's Office for the entire time that I've known them. Justin is new to the job, and he's been nothing but supportive as well. So I thank them for their presence here today. Additionally, we have County Council President Jill Hahn, who is starting, I believe, her second year, if I'm not mistaken, and she has been amazing to work with. Again, my emails to her and calls get returned immediately, and we've been able to accomplish some really good things for the Sheriff's Office, and she's very receptive, and her involvement is so appreciated. Her willingness to be involved in the operation of the Sheriff's Office is greatly appreciated. I'd also like to thank County Attorney David Jones and Assistant County Attorney Craig Emig for their presence and their invaluable support of our office in helping us manage our contracts and pursuing our initiatives. They're present here again today. We've got former Chief Deputy John Strange is here, longtime mentor of mine, and he's stayed involved with the Sheriff's Office even after his retirement. I see Tim Bishop over there, father to one of our sheriff deputies, Mike Bishop, who's here today receiving an award. Got Sergeant Chuck Butler with the Excise Police, big supporter of the Sheriff's Office, mostly because his wife works for us, but he's here today. Reverend Adrian Brooks is here today. Honored to have his presence as well, and his inspirational speaking. While he won't be giving a speech here today, if I'd known he was going to be here, I would have invited him to say a few words. He's a pleasure to listen to. And I've got Special Agent Adam Zirkelbach, I noticed in the lobby here today. It's nice to have our federal partners here as well, because we do rely on them so much through our various task forces, and Adam's presence at the DEA has been, genuinely enjoys working with him. And last but not least, our prosecutor, Diana Mers, is here. Again, we became fast friends from the very beginning. We both got elected, both trying to figure out what to do and what not to do, what to say and what not to say. It's been quite a journey for the both of us, and I know I have her support, and I know she can count on my support as well. If I have not listed you, then I apologize. It was not intentional, but I just want to thank everyone else for being here as well to show their support. I'd like to go ahead and begin because I detest long ceremonies. I'm sure everybody does. We'll get to the meat and potatoes of it as quickly as possible. I want to call up our first batch of awardees. I don't have a certificate for them, but I want to recognize them for their professionalism and their attainment of certain professional credentials, which has never before been obtained by the Sheriff's Office. We've got three deputies. I'll invite them up now. Deputy Todd Schimmel, Deputy Mike Brown, and Sergeant Andy Norris. These are all school resource deputies. These are the deputies that work in our EVSC and parochial schools and have the hard job of keeping our students safe, but more importantly, and even just as importantly as keeping them safe, looking after their mental well-being and making sure that they are equipped to deal with the complex issues that come from managing teenagers. I was driving to work today, and I'm not making this up. I'm driving down 41 and I see this car slow rolling in the breakdown lane with this teenager walking in front of the car. I'm like, I wonder what's going on here. I'm pretty sure she's not out for a stroll. And so I stop and I talk to this kid, And, she's a 17-year-old kid, and they can get on your nerves pretty darn quick for anyone who's a parent. And these guys have to deal with this every single day. And so I wasn't able to talk her back into the car. We ended up having another officer give her a ride to North High School, where Mike Brown will be dealing with her later on. But she was mad at her mom, and with COVID and the youth today, and it sounds like I'm old when I say that, but it's tough dealing with kids and teenagers, and these guys do it every single day, and they've sought professional certifications to help them do that. And so I want to recognize them as all having achieved their National Association of School Resource Officer Practitioner certification. This is the highest level of certification you can achieve through NASRO. They've also achieved their master certification, which is also the highest certification that you can receive through the Indiana School Resource Officer Association. These guys that stand before you are experts in their field, and they care enough about their job to pursue these very challenging fields of study and obtain these certifications. So I want to come around and shake their hand and thank them for the work they put into this program. The road to becoming a sheriff's deputy is a long one. It takes over a year from the time that you're hired, from the time that you're successfully released. This is what we call solo patrol and non-probationary status. And these next two deputies have achieved that, and I'll call them up each, Aaron Gorman and Dalton Blackwell. Aaron, you want to step forward? I expect great things out of these two. They've been a joy to have at the office, and I'm looking forward to seeing where their careers take them. Next up, we have Deputy Mike Bishop and Allison Lancaster, Deputy Allison Lancaster. I'm going to read a bit about why they're here today and what award they're receiving. On June 7th of 2023, or just before 8 a.m., a person was attempting at the Civic Center front entrance, which is manned and screening by Deputy Lancaster and Deputy Bishop, our screening station where we prevent folks from coming in the building with weapons. Deputy Lancaster observed a pistol-shaped weapon in an individual's briefcase on the x-ray machine. And during the investigation, the person claimed they had forgotten about the weapon in the briefcase. And they were warned for the violation and then escorted from the property to ensure the weapon was properly stored prior to them coming in. This sounds minor, but it's not. And thanks to the hard work of the commissioners and our own county attorney, we now have an ordinance going into effect later this month that will provide for a fine structure for someone who brings a firearm into the Civic Center. Before it was kind of a catch and release program. The idea being of keeping our courthouse safe, and that no judge, no magistrate, no court employee should have to worry about someone intimidating the court or causing harm to someone by producing a firearm. Courthouses oftentimes are just a tinderbox for emotions, raw emotions. And we've seen it over and over and over again through courthouse attacks and disruptions. And you get on YouTube, and it's got its own channel, disorder in the courts. And so our courts are a focal point for people's grievances with the government and their emotional issues, being upset with an ex-wife, being mad about their taxes, being upset with the mayor. It doesn't matter. It's all right there. It's the nerve center of government, and these deputies have to maintain a level of alertness to prevent something horrible from happening. And if they're not paying attention, tragedy could strike. And so thanks to this ordinance, we will be dissuading folks from bringing their firearms to the courthouse. And thanks to these deputies' actions, a firearm was intercepted. And I want to recognize them with a commendation. Your second commendation is, I believe, Mike. Smell these guys. Standing before us here is Deputy Mark Dimmitt. At 10 a.m. on November 21st, while working the same screening station, Deputy Dimmitt observed what appeared to be a semi-automatic handgun concealed within a laptop carrying case. During the investigation, the person claimed again that they had forgotten about the weapon. The individual was warned for the violation and escorted from the property to ensure the weapon was safely stored. Again, we don't know the person's intentions. It probably was an innocent mistake, but it's not always an innocent mistake. And thanks to these deputies' observation and not just going about rote and routine without paying attention to their job, thanks to their actions, we'll never know how many tragedies are prevented. And I want to thank Deputy Dimmitt for his attention to detail and actions in this case. These folks in blue here, which is soon to be green, I believe, changing our uniform colors here. We took a poll amongst all the jailers, and as we sometimes call them, confinement officers. We're going back to these snazzy green uniforms here shortly. So look soon for a new look for our COs. But the reason that Confinement Officer Kayla Lee, Confinement Officer Jacob Wilkinson, and Confinement Sergeant Brennan Shank are standing up here is because on November 27th, around 2:50 in the morning, which is pretty late for me as I get older, I'd rather be in bed. But these guys are out here working. A couple of Evansville Police Department officers came into the booking and requested that an arrestee, Mr. Christopher Boyd, and that may be a name that may be familiar to you if you watch the news lately, requested he be run through the body scanner because they believe he might be concealing narcotics on his body. So they're queued up to look for narcotics, which don't look like metal. With that being said, when they ran him through this body scanner, they detected what appeared to be a firearm. And they didn't just wait. They didn't give him an opportunity to react. They quickly took action, controlled the situation, secured him, and prevented him from pulling out a loaded 380 caliber firearm and potentially harming folks inside the jail. It's a scary prospect, a gun in the jail, because none of our COs are armed and we don't allow firearms in the facility. So when you have a bad guy, and this guy was a bad guy, who has a firearm in our building, they can kill a lot of people very quickly. But their quick actions likely saved lives and kept the inmates of our facility and our fellow employees safe, and I want to commend them for that. So we value community relations and doing things out in the public education and outreach, and the work of our school resource deputies and our jailers obviously is very important to us. But equally important is the investigative side of our office. And it's one that's kind of often done, maybe in the shadows isn't the right word, but you don't hear about a lot of the investigations that this deputy does because they are very high level and oftentimes involve wiretaps or other things we don't want to publicly disclose until an arrest is made. On November 21st, the DEA resident officer of the River City Drug Task Force, which our office is a member of, the Vanderburgh County Drug Task Force arrested Akeem Wilson and two other Evansville residents for drug violations after seizing approximately 21 pounds of methamphetamine and several hundred blue counterfeit M30 fentanyl pills, a firearm, and over $25,000 in cash. The arrest stemmed from a 2-month-long investigation being led by the Sheriff's Office Detective J.J. Buddy. The investigation continued, and additional seizures resulting in this investigation included an additional $23,000 in currency, 4 additional firearms, and hundreds of rounds of firearm ammunition. In late February, Wilson and 4 other people were federally indicted in the United States District Court in the Southern District of Indiana on federal charges including conspiracy to distribute methamphetamine. Wilson subsequently pled guilty to the federal charges of possession with intent to distribute, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and conspiracy to possess with the intent to distribute. Wilson has been sentenced to a total of 204 months of imprisonment with the United States Bureau of Prisons, and his sentencing date was October 23rd. Deputy Buddy's actions in this case, or I should say Detective Buddy's actions in this case, resulted in this arrest, and it made it clear in Vanderburgh County that if you're going to sell poison to our citizens, you're going to go to prison. Deputy Buddy? Thank you. We'll call up Sergeant Robert Schmidt and Deputy Jeff Fentress. Now, on July 25th of 2023, both these deputies went to an address on North Kentucky Avenue in an attempt to arrest a female who had multiple felony and misdemeanor warrants. And after they arrived on scene, these deputies were made aware that the female had hidden in the attic of the residence. Now, Sergeant Schmitz directed the deputies to attempt to communicate with the female and gave her multiple chances to surrender. The deputies also utilized pepper ball, which is a kind of an airsoft-style paintball gun device to shoot a really unpleasant substance called what's it with the oleresin capsaicin? Is that the stuff? I just know you don't want it in your nose. I know that. She didn't surrender. She remained in the attic. Now, at this time, Deputy Schmidt and Deputy Fentress used a ladder to gain access to the attic and begin searching for the female. They were unable to find her. They were able to find her under a pile of insulation and straw. Now, keep in mind that, like the date here, this is July 25th, and it's kind of hard to understand what that means given the cold day we have now, but it's pretty hot that day. And she was unconscious because she had passed out due to the extreme heat. Now, if these two deputies had simply driven away or given up or came back a different day, she would have probably died. And so they called for an ambulance. They took her down from the attic and began to attempt to revive her and cool her while EMS personnel arrived. It was 95 degrees that day and high humidity. I appreciate your guys' actions in saving a life. We want to take folks into custody and hold them accountable for the crimes. We don't want to see them die. And it's our job to protect life. We don't make judgments on whether that life is worthy or not. We just want to protect life, and these deputies did. So I want to commend them. Thanks, Sergeant. I'd like to call up Deputy Amanda Young. I'll be a little vague with this one, but I felt it important to call out a deputy's performance even when they occur in events that receive a lot of media coverage. The easy thing to do would just be let it go, but I couldn't in this case because their actions were so impressive. I felt they required public recognition. On November 18th, 2023, Deputy Young was among the first law enforcement officers to respond to a distraught man who was brandishing a knife in public. Deputy Young quickly established communication with the individual and put her recently acquired crisis negotiation skills certificate training to good use in order to de-escalate, or at least attempt to de-escalate, this volatile situation. Deputy Young negotiated with the individual for nearly 15 minutes before the man abruptly tried to attack the officer, resulting in force being used to subdue him. Deputy Young displayed exceptionally cool demeanor in a high-stress situation. She took control of the situation. It didn't matter if she didn't have rank on her sleeve. She took control of the situation and what I saw from the video demonstrated the exact kind of methodology and behavior we would expect from a sheriff deputy. It was truly performance of the highest order, and I wanted to publicly recognize her for it here today. Thank you. Sergeant Davies. Sergeant Eves has served with the Vanderburgh County Sheriff's Office as an emergency vehicle operations instructor since April of 2001. He taught me how to drive a police car. During that tenure, he's instructed and coordinated vehicle operations training for all deputy sheriffs within our organization and for countless law enforcement academy cadets throughout the state of Indiana. His skills and professionalism are a lot of deputies who owe their good driving skills to him, more than he can probably remember. In December of 23, Sergeant East officially turned over his driving gloves to the next generation of trainer, but we wanted to thank him for his long tenure as a driving instructor and appreciate the fact that you keep our deputies safe by instilling in them good driving habits and technical skill. We've got one of the highest awards we can bestow on someone is a Sheriff's Lifesaver Award. Sergeant Nathan Bale, who's standing next to me here, is worthy of this award. Because on December 11th, just before midnight, he was dispatched to a motor vehicle accident with injuries on Upper Mount Vernon Road near the intersection of Diefenbach, out there in the county. The caller stated that a vehicle was upside down and the driver was trapped and suspended inside the vehicle. A nearby resident heard the crash, came from his house, and located the driver before deputies arrived. He cut the seatbelt and removed the driver from the vehicle. Then the deputy arrived, and they located the vehicle upside down off the road. Now, Sergeant Bale arrived first and found the driver, who was at that point critically injured. The preliminary investigation indicated that the vehicle had been traveling at high speed when it lost control and struck a bridge guardrail in the driver's door area. Not a good situation. The guardrail had penetrated the door of the vehicle, amputating Mr. Wilson's, the driver's leg, just below the knee. Sergeant Bale applied a tourniquet to the driver's right leg to stop the massive amount of blood loss. And when we train our guys for tourniquet application, the question is, well, how do you know when you need to use a tourniquet? And the answer generally is, oh, you'll know. Not just some blood, but a lot of blood. We're not talking about a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Band-Aid or anything. We're talking about a need to save life immediately, and you'll know it when you see it. Now, medics with the Perry Township Fire Department and AMR arrived shortly after and took over medical care, and he was transported for further care. Mr. Wilson remained hospitalized after the incident, but the body camera footage was very compelling, and it clearly depicts the severed leg with the large amount of blood that was spurting from the arterial bleed. Pretty graphic. The driver was saying he feels lightheaded and felt he couldn't feel his leg and pleaded with the deputies not to let him die. And Sergeant Bale didn't. And I want to commend him for his actions in saving life. I'd call up Deputy Clint Stanton. This is a Sheriff's Achievement Award. We don't give these out all that often. But it's typically conferred in recognition of someone's outstanding duty-related achievements, their accomplishments, or their successes. And it should be awarded when the sheriff feels like the award is appropriate. And it can be nominated by any member of the office. So the administrative staff, all of us, have been so impressed with Deputy Stanton's actions this past year, we nominated him. He's demonstrated exceptional leadership by reorganizing our peer support team. This is what keeps our deputies and our confinement officers' mental health where it needs to be. And he reorganized and created the Reverse Sheriff's Office Chaplain Program. He spent hours of his own time, not being paid, researching other agencies' teams. He set up meetings with members of the mental health community, all with the goal of better serving his coworkers and community. His commitment to creating a supportive environment at the Sheriff's Office has made a profound impact on the mental health and emotional health of our team. And he did this while maintaining a high level of confidentiality, which is absolutely essential for keeping people's trust. Deputy Stanton has been at the forefront of implementing an overall wellness program for the Sheriff's Office. He introduced the Lighthouse application on our phones, which contains resources for mental health, financial assistance, and many other topics that relate to both on-duty and off-duty situations. It takes strength, courage, and compassion to tackle the issue of mental wellness within law enforcement community, and Deputy Stanton has been the pillar of this for our office in terms of peer support. And as a result, we've nominated Deputy Clint Stanton for the Sheriff's Achievement Award for his dedication to his community and to his chosen profession. Before we get to the swearing in of our new deputies, which is the main part of the event, I want to recognize some of our staff. To my left, Chief Deputy Nathan Sugarman. To my right, Major Mark Razier, who helped coordinate this entire event and keep me on track here. If I sound good, it's because of him. Major Matt Korn back there, who takes care of all of our patrol and investigations. He's the one texting me at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I don't typically read him until 8 a.m., but he's dealing with it. He calls me if he needs me, but most of the time he doesn't. Major Rob Clark, he takes the daunting task of managing our court security. In addition to that, all the IT and technical needs of the Sheriff's Office. So when something's broke, he has to take the flak for it, and I appreciate the job he does. But I want to call someone up here, and at this point he's probably looking at me sideways. I want to call Captain Dave Getling up to the front. He didn't know this was happening. "2023 was a challenging year for this administration and the entire executive leadership team. Every one of our commanders bore the burden of command, but none more so than Captain Getling. He has taken the jail from where it was in January, which was a good place, but needed improvement. And he's taken it and successfully executed the vision of the Sheriff's Office and his own vision. And he was a huge part for us enjoying the successes that we've enjoyed by bringing our staffing levels to where they need to be, changing the culture of the jail to where it's once again a fun place to come to work, and listening to his employees. I'd like to recognize all of his lieutenants as well, time not permitting, because they all deserve credit for what's happened in that jail. But none so more than Captain Dave Getling, who I'd like to present with the Sheriff's Achievement Award. Didn't lose it on that one, I'm glad. I thought I was going to lose it for a second. At this point, I want to swear in some new deputies. That's why a lot of us are here today. It's a happy day. So at this point, I'd like to call up our long-standing Merit Board President, Mr. Tim Klingler, for a few remarks to the new deputies, followed by the swearing in. For this moment, we'll call Tim up. You guys are welcome to stand here as well. Tim, you want to join us up here?
Thanks, Sheriff.
Regale us with your oratory.
Well, expectations should be low. All right. Sheriff, Major, Chief, on behalf of the Merit Board, I want to thank all of you for being here this morning. Appreciate you coming down for this. This is a big deal this morning. This is an important ceremony. So it's nice to see so many people down here for it. So on behalf of the Merit Board, thank you. And on behalf of the Merit Board, congratulations to everybody receiving these awards. And there's a lot of them because they deserve it. They deserve these awards. So congratulations to each and every one of you for a job well done and for being an example to a lot of folks, especially our new deputies. I'll direct my comments mostly to the new deputies, as I usually do this morning. Deputy Harris, Deputy Norman, how's that sound? Deputy? Yeah, sounds good, right? I'm glad you have an opportunity to come down here and hear about all these accomplishments. We have a lot of superior quality officers in this department. I have said for years, I say it loudly, and I say it unapologetically, you're joining the best sheriff's office in the state of Indiana. It's nice to have you aboard. I'm glad you get to hear about all of these accomplishments from these officers. These are the examples you'll be following. These are the people who are going to be teaching you. So it's a great opportunity for you to be here and listen to these stories. Not every agency does this. We do it because the sheriff and the chief, they appreciate exemplary service and they reward it publicly. They stand behind their deputies. You do the right thing, they'll stand behind you too. That's a big deal. It's a really big deal. The second thing is, as you're milling around, I want you to look around all the brown uniforms in here today, all right? Not just patrolmen, sergeants, lieutenants, line command people. They're not here because the sheriff or the chief ordered them to be here. They're here because they want to be here. They're going to help you. They're going to support you. They're going to train you. They're going to teach you. They're going to make you the best deputy sheriffs you can possibly be. So pay attention. A lot of good footsteps to follow in here. As I told you when the merit board approved your appointments, a lot of people are going to be in your position this morning. This is the end of a system where you're brought under high scrutiny, a lot of evaluation. You were selected because you were the best. Now our expectations of you are very, very high, but no pressure. Finally, you're going to get a lot of congratulations today, and you should. This is a job, this is a major accomplishment. This is a big deal to be brought into this agency. It's a big deal. You deserve all of these congratulations. I want to step forward and say thank you. Thank you for stepping up to the plate, to join a profession which is not always appreciated, but it's always very demanding. But you're going to feel good every morning when you put on that uniform because you know you're going to be helping people. And that's why you're going into this profession. You got a lot of people around here to teach you how to do that in the best way possible. So thank you for stepping up to the plate. This county, this country needs people like you. We count on people like you. So thank you. Don't forget to thank the people who have helped you along the way. You didn't do this alone, right? They're going to be there for you in the future too. So be sure and thank those folks. They deserve that too, all right? That's about all I've got to say. I will see you next Friday. We'll spend a whole day wandering through the wonderful world of search and seizure law. Doesn't that make you tingle all over? All right? Gentlemen, congratulations. Welcome aboard. Godspeed.
This time, Circuit Court Clerk Carla Hayden will administer the oath of office to our new deputies.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Indiana, and that I will honestly and faithfully discharge my duties as Deputy Sheriff to the best of my skill and ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Step forward. Present you with your first badge. Congratulations. How we do on time there?
Looking good.
All right. I know those seats are reasonably comfortable, but they're not hardly a Barca lounger, so I'll get you guys out of here. I think it's about it. It says whimsical improvised dialogue by the sheriff. I'm about dialogued out. Thank you all for being here. It's been my genuine pleasure to be your sheriff this past year, And I know I speak for Chief Deputy Nathan Sugarman, my right-hand man, that he's enjoyed the ride as well, and we're looking forward to another year of peaks and valleys, but I can promise you that we're going to put in the work. Our entire office will put in the work. We thank you for being here to support us in our efforts. Have a good day.